Okay, welcome back. You're here because you want to stay ahead, get the crucial info without wading through everything. We do the digging for you.
Exactly. Cut through the noise.
So today, we're diving straight into some pretty surprising AI news. We've got a tech report guiding us.
Yeah, things are moving fast.
Right. Our mission is simple. Pull out the key insights from Google's, well, unexpected Gemini 2.5 Pro launch and a really interesting strategic turn from OpenAI. Ready to get into it.
Absolutely. It feels like every week there's something major. Google dropping a big model early, OpenAI shifting gears. Lots to unpack.
Let's start with Google then. Gemini 2.5 Pro. This kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it?
It really did.
And the report we looked at is framing it as potentially the best coding AI model of all time. It's apparently #1 in those LM arenas right now.
Yeah, the benchmarks look impressive, especially for coding. But the timing, that's the head scratcher.
Totally. Google I/O is like, what, 2 weeks away? That's their big developer conference where you'd expect this kind of announcement.
Usually, yeah.
So why release it now? What's the thinking there?
Well, the report throws out that idea of AI applied to make AI. Using their current tools to accelerate development.
Right, right.
So if that's happening, maybe 2.5 Pro is just the start. Perhaps they've got something even bigger lined up for I/O, like Gemini 3, or maybe a 2.5 Ultra.
Okay. So this could be a strategic early release to build buzz or maybe clear the decks for something more advanced at the conference.
Could be. It suggests their development cycle might be speeding up significantly.
And wasn't there something else mentioned? A leak about Android 16?
Yeah, the report mentioned an accidentally published blog post, something about a major overhaul for the Android UI, making it more emotional and expressive.
Emotional Android.
Seems like a broader push for more sophisticated AI across the board at Google, not just in coding models, but it sort of fits together maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, let's switch gears to OpenAI then. The big headline was about them abandoning plans to become a for-profit company.
Right. And at first glance, that sounds like, a win for the nonprofit ideals maybe, especially given Elon Musk's past criticisms about them going commercial.
Exactly. That was my first reaction. But the report digs deeper, and the reality seems different.
Very different. The key detail is the type of structure they're moving to. It's not back to the original nonprofit.
No, they're shifting from the current capped profit LLC
to an uncapped profit public benefit corporation, a PBC.
Uncapped profit. That's the bit that jumps out.
It really is. So while, yes, the original nonprofit board still has a role as a shareholder in this new PBC.
The potential for generating, well, massive profits is definitely still there, maybe even more so than before.
Potentially, yeah. It's uncapped. It feels like a very clever strategic move. You get the public benefit branding, which sounds good, but you also structure it to attract serious investment and generate significant returns, which they could argue gets plowed back into the mission.
It's interesting. The report notes that Anthropic and xAI are also PBCs. Is this just becoming the standard model for big AI players?
It might be. It offers a way to balance that saving the world narrative with the practical need for massive funding and the potential for investor returns.
Okay, another piece of OpenAI news that caught my eye. This reported acquisition, Windsurf.
Yeah, Windsurf, apparently a fork of the VS Code editor.
And the price tag mentioned in the report, $3 billion.
$3 billion, yeah.
Which leads to a pretty obvious question, I think. OpenAI keeps saying their AI is already like a top-tier programmer, right?
Yeah.
Top 50 globally or something.
That's the claim, yes.
So why spend $3 billion on a code editor? If your AI is so good, couldn't it just, I don't know, build you a better editor? Or just integrate seamlessly anywhere?
That's the puzzle, isn't it? It seems contradictory. Why buy the tool if you've already mastered the craft at such a high level?
What's the thinking? The report suggests maybe they're feeling the heat. Competition?
That's one possibility. Maybe they feel they aren't as dominant as they seemed a year ago. Acquiring Windsurf gives them an established platform, a user base.
A way to embed their AI deeper into the developer workflow? Make it indispensable.
Could be. Owning the editor gives you a lot of control over how developers interact with your AI tools. It's a strategic foothold.
Interesting. Okay, let's talk performance then. Benchmarks versus reality. Gemini 2.5 Pro is crushing it in the LM arenas, especially coding, web dev, that blind taste test thing.
Yeah, where people just pick the output they prefer. Subjective but useful.
But then you have LiveBench, which the report says uses contamination-free questions trying to be more objective.
Right. And there, OpenAI models apparently still lead, And weirder still, Gemini 2.5 Pro seemed to score lower than the previous version on LiveBench, except specifically in coding.
Lower. Really?
Except for coding, yeah. It just highlights how unreliable benchmarks can be on their own. You really need to test things out.
So the report details some of those real-world tests, trying to get Gemini 2.5 Pro to generate Svelte 5 code for an app.
And how did that go?
Well, the code looked right, syntactically correct, but the app itself didn't actually run properly.
Close, but no cigar.
Kind of. A step forward maybe, but not quite there. Then they tried vibe coding a game with 3JS.
Just asking it to create something from scratch based on a vibe.
Yeah, and the result was pretty solid, but, not dramatically better than other models could do.
Okay. So good, but not necessarily revolutionary in those tests.
But then vision prompts. This seems to be where it shined.
Oh, yeah. What did they try?
Get this. Someone sketched an app idea on, toilet paper.
Toilet paper. Seriously.
Seriously. And asked Gemini to build a full-stack app from it, complete with a PostgreSQL database.
Huh?
And the report says the result gave pretty solid vibes. It actually managed to translate that rough visual sketch into a working back-end structure.
Wow, okay. That is impressive. Multimodal input to functional code. That suggests a real strength in understanding and integrating different kinds of information.
Definitely seems like a key area for it, which, brings up the next logical step. Deployment. You build these cool things, where do you run them?
Always the challenge.
The report actually mentions Savala, who are supporting this deep dive, as a solution here. They're positioned as a sort of modern take on Heroku.
Simplifying deployment. That's always needed.
Yeah, for full-stack apps, databases, static sites. It runs on Google Kubernetes Engine and Cloudflare, apparently.
Okay, so leveraging solid infrastructure.
And they make it sound pretty easy. Connect your Git repo or a Docker image, click deploy. Simple.
Nice. Removing friction is key for developers.
They also mentioned a new database studio, so you can manage your databases right from the web UI.
Handy. Keeps everything in one place.
And yeah, for anyone listening who wants to check it out, there's an offer for free credits to try Savala, so something to look into if you're deploying apps.
Good heads up.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. Quick recap. Google drops Gemini 2.5 Pro early, looks strong in coding, but the timing raises questions before I/O.
Right. Then OpenAI shifts to this uncapped profit PBC structure while also spending billions on a code editor, Windsurf. Lots of strategic plays.
And the real-world tests for Gemini 2.5 Pro, mixed bag. Okay, on some coding tasks. Not revolutionary, but really impressive on that vision prompt example.
Yeah, the benchmarks don't tell the whole story, as usual. Practical use is where you see the real strengths and weaknesses.
So the final thought to leave you with, considering all these rapid moves, the surprise releases, the big acquisitions, the structural changes, what does the AI landscape actually look like in, say, 6 months or a year? Who's really going to be leading the charge, and what kind of breakthroughs are we maybe not even anticipating yet?
That's the big question, isn't it? I feel like the ground is constantly shifting. Who has the edge and for how long? Lots to think about.
Definitely. It's an exciting, maybe slightly chaotic time in AI. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Always interesting. Talk soon.